Genie grind and watch him get rich, huh? Remember when I said I hit a lick, huh? I don't really wanna fuck the bitch, what? Willie went and made another hit, okay, like Prada on my motherfucking kid, huh? Louis on my motherfucking hip, huh? Curry how I dunk, no switch, hey, fucker gonna fuck that bitch, hey, if you ain't gon' fuck with me, you a dumb fuck, put up a hit but feel like one punch, look at my bank and I'm getting dumb rich, and I'm gonna count it up till 100,
Hello world, I am What If Studia, and today we are doing What If Deku was a modder. So he'll begin his life instantly able to do some sort of ability of editing stuff. He can edit most likely genes. He was given a quirk called edit, and you're able to edit people's genes. Not exactly easily, but if you were to give offspring, you could easily edit them to be a perfect human being. That's sort of the best example of it. That's what he's diagnosed with, at least. However, he since he's given this gene, it's actually they say that it's much more powerful than that. Like, he can change other people's quirks because of the genes. So, but they misdiagnosed it. He can't actually do that. He can edit reality. He has a modding sort of thing, where he can mod reality like he can mod games. As he has become a huge shut-in and has become much better at modding games than anything else in his life. Suddenly he's now given this ability to mod real life. However, real life is much different than actual game modding, so it doesn't exactly transfer over. He can't just become the king of reality itself, So there's limits to this type of stuff. His modding is actually limited to his soul, which he likes to call mana. It makes him much more, it dials him back and stops him from using his coding powers and coding for years on end just to make himself king of reality, He can't do that. He has limits to what he can do per second. He has like a generation sort of thing. However, he notices that it is actually dependent more on his intelligence and also his courageousness. He calls it soul power, or MP for short. Mana power, actually. So basically, given that he has an actual quirk this time, but he's yet still a shut-in, Bakugo actually is much more harsh on him this time. Because he feels like, he thinks that he's better than him since he's able to edit quirks. But Deku keeps on telling him he's not able to do that exactly. No, they misdiagnosed it, but Bakugo won't let up. Bakugo over the years destroys his self-worth and makes him feel like shit, causing him to become much more of a shut-in, and just all he's been doing this whole entire time has been messing around with his modding quirk. He is now, he has been able to, over the years, give himself, mod himself to have the best genes in the world, making himself much more handsome, making him have a much more bulkier body, and being able to, just generally cheat reality. Since all this happened, Bakugo starts to get much more hesitant to mess around with him, however, because people rally behind him this time, much more recent. So Bakugo starts to let off a little bit. After all, he is a man of the people, all right? He's not offended by other people trying to stop him. However, he does blast them out of his way, and basically makes fun of his quirk being a villain quirk. Now this gets everybody thinking that, why would he say that? Because All For One's quirk is the same as his, being able to edit quirks. That's why the misdiagnosis was so concerning for everybody. Now they all start to turn on him, showing him that even though he has all these great stuff, he still does not have, the basic stuff. What the fuck? He still does not have, the support of the people that he wanted to. In the eyes of his peers, he is still a villain. Is now a villain. All because of freaking Bakugo's ramblings. And then Bakugo starts to lord his quirk over him even more this time. Deku starts working on a code that he perfects in class one day when Bakugo is railing on him. He slaps it on the back of Bakugo, and before Bakugo can come back with a right hook with an explosion behind it, the explosion does not trigger. Surprising Bakugo and, shocking everybody, because this is usually part of the day where he gets his ass beating, nothing happened. Bakugo keeps on trying to use his quirk, but he cannot, as Deku starts to explain that he has stopped his quirk from working for a short amount of time, but he can control it himself, how long it'll be there. So, all I want you to say is, "I'm sorry." Bakugo's like, "What?" "Say you're sorry, alright? That's all I want. Admit that I'm handsome." "I'm not going to do that." "Then, fine." "Fine. Don't have your quirk. That's fine with me." So they go their separate ways, Bakugo not being able to beat up Deku anymore because Deku has stopped him from using his quirk. Bakugo starts training without his quirk, trying to get stronger than Deku because of Deku's natural fighting ability that he'd given himself because of his genes. Bakugo starts training since he was like almost 12 by this point. So then throughout the years, Deku now has Bakugo on a leash, allowing him to, control basically everything. However, Bakugo is torturing still Reko throughout his mind, making him hate everybody there. Deku still has this sort of sense of that everybody's against him still, even though he controls the classroom by this point. He starts to think of somebody that he can truly trust, something that he can trust, something of his own creation. So over the years, he starts to make a butler character that he had seen in one of his RPGs. However, making human life is intensely hard. He cannot make it have free will. That is something that he cannot control. He can simply make the exoskeleton of what would be a human. However, he can control how much power it has. It can only go as far as him. However, he starts, as he's modding this, he realizes that maybe he can mod stuff that he makes much more easy than he can anybody else. So he creates this butler who comes into reality just around his strength and has zero intelligence basically, but is basically fakes having intelligence. How like Alexa fakes it having intelligence, all right? And he asks the butler to go, because he doesn't have the time to save his neighborhood or any of the surroundings, as he would be able to because of his martial arts skills. He just sends out the butler to deal with to start saving people himself. Maybe become a hero on accident. Just a vigilante for this time, as he feels bad for the people around him. But, that soon was to fade in the near future. Deku starts editing the butler stronger and stronger, giving him sort of quirks that would help his physical ability, making him have like stone skin to rock skin to steel skin, which would come down much later. But you get the point. It's progression, and also giving him some super strength that he took from somebody else. He didn't take it. He copied it down. Sorry, copy and paste. It's much easier that way. So basically, with this butler, he's able to watch over the whole city, as he also has a telekinesis quirk with him, which was the only quirk that he had until one night. It was the only quirk that he had with the butler, actually, until this one night where Bakugo was on his way back and then was attacked by a villain. His butler soon charges into the scene, trying to stop this rampaging villain. However, the villain has 3 quirks to surprise the butler. One was to create ice out of his breath. One was to sharpen the ice with his metal hand. And then his left hand was able to collect all of the ice onto his hand and make it into a sword. Basically, all these collected into a gigantic sword on his left hand that was able to slice through anybody. It swiftly slices down, almost slices Bakugo in half as it slashes him across the chest, because Bakugo's an idiot and would not leave. As the butler charges in, tries to take down the villain, he is swiftly kicked back and then almost sliced off his arm. As Deku starts running and gets there, by the time that the butler is sliced down fully, Deku takes out a sheet of paper and throws it as hard as he can. which hits Bakugo on the forehead, healing all of his wounds and getting him back up to his feet. As Bakugo gets back up, the villain charges at Deku, who is swiftly spiked through the chest, and then thrown over to Bakugo, who catches Deku. As he almost drops Deku there and then, because Deku has ruined his life, Deku actually puts his hand up around his shoulder and then rips off the code that was stopping Bakugo from using his quirk. And Deku says, "Now, beat his ass," as he drops him to the ground, and then Bakugo charges at the villain as hard as he can, riling up the biggest explosion he will ever do, because he was sweating profusely trying to fight him originally, which built up sweat, and then now he's going to hit him with the largest explosion he has ever done. This blows off the top half of the villain completely, eviscerating him. As Deku sort of laughs over this, happy and proud of Bakugo, actually, in some way. Bakugo still laments him. However, does all the some heroes come through and take Deku to the hospital. However, before they can start healing him, he just takes out one of his another one of his code, healing things and heals himself. He only has 2 of those left because it takes like a week to make those. He says, "Thanks, but no thanks. I don't need the healthcare problems." He gets out of the hospital and then walks back down to his house, proud of Bakugo's achievement of becoming so strong because of his physical body being so strong now that his quirk has to catch up. It now is able to, speed up as long as it can. It's a complicated process that he sort of created himself. But this gets him thinking. A villain with 3 quirks in him. Could he possibly do that with his butler? I wonder indeed. Thank you so much for watching this. I'll be seeing you, world, someday. Sometime. See ya.
Genie grind, I wish I'm getting rich, huh? Remember when I said I hit a lick, huh? I don't really wanna fuck the bitch, what? Willie when I made another hit, okay, like Prada on my motherfucking kid, huh? Louis on my motherfucking hip, huh? Curry how I dunk, no switch, hey, fucker gonna fuck that bitch, hey, if you ain't gon' fuck with me, you a dumb fuck, put up a hit up, I feel like 1 punch, look at my bank and I'm getting dumb rich, and I'm gonna count it up till 100,